Tasha.
Hey, Penny.
It always surprises me every time. I don't even know why. Well, we're here again today, and we are ready to talk with everybody about really a great subject.
It's a scary subject to me, but go ahead.
But we're talking about identifying behaviors in the workplace by your employees that are related to a term that
It's this new term, I think. It's really because quiet
quitting, which I had never heard. But boy, just by hearing that, we know exactly what that means.
Yep.
So it really is about the people that you work with that you know, or maybe you don't know. That's the reason it's quiet quitting, is that they really don't want to be there anymore. Mm-hmm. And once again, and we talk about this all the time, managers, owners, CEOs, in tune with your phone system, your website. You've got to be in tune with the people, not just these people.
Yeah, everybody.
Right?
Yeah,
so,
top to bottom.
Yeah, from top to bottom. Like I like to say, from the suite to the street. I mean, you've really got to be aware of all the people that are working within your organization. Mm-hmm. So Tasha, when we talk about quiet quitting...
I know that people, since it's a new term, or something I've never heard of, and they say that it's since the pandemic, but I think, quiet quitting has been around for a long time. Different names. We've had names like slacker, riding the clock, someone who's just coasting in the job, someone who's just, what's the other term? Clock watcher.
Clock watchers.
Yeah. But time wasters, slacker.
But what's interesting about everything that you're saying, my experience has been that, let's just say there's an office or a warehouse, it doesn't really matter, with 4 people, 5 people in it. The people that work in the same area have all identified these?
They've already, yes, because you know who is not going to do their job.
Right.
And someone else is always having to pick up the slack.
Right. So, but you've got the bosses that are not seeing this.
No, they don't see any of it.
And then when somebody goes to a boss and says, you know what, I really think that Jay is probably not doing what he should do, sometimes you get a pretty negative reaction.
Oh yeah, we don't, because we also don't like. It's not whistleblower, but we don't like tattletales.
Yeah, exactly. So when you identify these behaviors, and let me just go over them again: a clock watcher, somebody you identify as a slacker. What would you say that would mean? A slacker?
There's someone who's not doing their job. Someone who just sort of backs off or takes extra minutes for breaks. Just it's like the job takes 5 minutes.
Oh, right.
They take 3 hours to finish that job. That's a slacker.
Yeah.
There's someone who's just doing the bare minimum.
Or you're right. Or they go to do something and they don't come back for like 30 minutes, and it should have taken 5 minutes, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody that's coasting, again, bare minimum.
Bare minimum. Just doing barely enough not to get fired or not to be noticed.
Not to be noticed. Okay. So as we're talking about these, and the big one is the red flags, if you will. How can an employer, do you think, address these types of things?
That's a hard one because it depends on the employer. It depends on the industry. Mm-hmm. It depends on how involved they really want to be. Because I know I've heard people say, if they would just let me take this time off or whatever, then I would stay in the job. Well, sometimes the employer doesn't have that luxury to say, I can adjust all your schedules.
Right.
They don't have that kind of time. So I think that, for the most part, if you're really unhappy in your job and you're finding yourself quietly quitting, that you might just need to just go ahead and boldly quit.
No, it's true.
Because there might not be anything that somebody can do. And especially in today's society where we expect people to give us things for free, not thinking, I'm in this job to help this company earn money or help this company flourish or succeed. They didn't hire me because of me. They hire me because they need the help.
And you know what? That's such a such a valuable and interesting point because it's so true. You know, any company that hires you or me or anybody, the goal is to make the company continue to be successful.
Yes.
So they need you to be successful in the business. So those people that say the company owes me X, Y, or Z, you know, there are some situations like that. But what I used to say to everybody when, you know, in my past career was when you start your job, you know, these are the expectations. You know, you need to be able to do all of these things. Not one, not two, but I hired you because I expect you to do all of them.
Yes.
So you can't kind of pick and choose what you decided to do.
And I've heard, you know, like some people quiet quit because, you know, let's say that they have a particular job, they're data entry, and they come up with all these good ideas for how to market or how to sell, you know, how to display or something, but their job is just to do data entry. So sometimes when they give their suggestions to an employer, it's, quote, out of their lane. It's out of their area of expertise, and they have people that they've hired to do that particular job. And so they will tell you, you know, thanks, but no thanks for your advice, because we've got somebody else doing that.
And that is something employers really need to listen to, because I think this is such an extremely important point. Just because your lane might be this doesn't mean you don't have a vision or you can't see other things that might be done differently or better. So to always dismiss somebody's suggestions because that's not your
Expertise
thing,
or
your
thing.
expertise.
I didn't hire you for that.
Yeah, I didn't hire you for that. I think that if you are successful in business, and you know, people talk about suggestion boxes and all that stuff, but you should be able to, if you're working in a warehouse and you need to be efficient, and you see something in the warehouse that could be done differently to make you more efficient, and management doesn't want to hear about it because whatever, you are going to cut the legs off from somebody that is working it every day and is trying to help. And this goes at any parts of the business, right?
And I bet you that's part of the reasons where a lot of industries shut down.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and unfortunately, employees can go somewhere else if that does happen.
So I guess that one of the big takeaways from this is if you've identified these behaviors within some of your folks,
Talk to them.
Talk to them, and you need to find out what's going on. You certainly don't want somebody just putting in their time because nobody's helping anybody. Somebody's getting a paycheck, but it's not helping the business per se.
Not growing.
Not growing the business per se, which is really what the goal and objective is. And maybe that's what you need to, you know, remind everybody that this is a collective kind of thing. But you also need to make the decision to let someone go if they're not performing in the manner in which you need them to perform.
Right.
But you also have got to go through all the steps.
And it all depends on how big the company is too. The bigger companies, you know, they'll probably just let you go. You know, but having a stay interview or something where they try to convince you to stay if they need you, if you really need your expertise or not. But the smaller the company, the more conversation you could have.
Absolutely, I agree. Well, this was an interesting conversation. I hope that people recognize that if you're quiet quitting, if you don't want to be there, don't think it's going unnoticed because somebody is noticing it. And if you are the boss or whatever, and you really think this is a valuable person, it's your job to find out what you can do differently, if anything.
If anything.
All right, so that's it today.
Thank you.
See you next time.